So, so if there's something that you want proof of that Don Copeland says during the webinar, then I'm going to post the video on YouTube. For you guys on GoToWebinar, we're also doing our first simulcast here on YouTube. So we're streaming live on ColDesi Coleman, our YouTube channel that we use for most of our videos. There are more than 700 videos up there. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a little housekeeping. That is Heath, our DTG guru, not to be confused with Don, the deacon of DTG, Don Copeland, who's going to come on in just a moment. What I'm going to do is make sure that you're aware of everything that we do to help you guys make a good decision and in whatever kind of custom apparel equipment that you're looking to purchase, and then to keep you running once you get it. The first thing that you're going to see here is our Facebook group. And by the way, as we switch back and forth between the computer screen and the video, you may lose us for a minute. There's a little snowflake icon down at the bottom of your screen. If you click on that, normally it comes back. If you're on an iPad or an Android device, then you're going to have problems one way or the other. There's really not a lot we can do to help. Just click off and click back on again, and it'll work out for you. Okay, you can ask questions at any time. We will answer the good ones, and we will ignore the ones that we want to. Okay, what you see here is the Custom Apparel Startups Facebook group, and this really is a great resource. We are up to how many members?
2,320.
2,300 people that are basically just like you guys that are on here today. Maybe you even found us through the Facebook group, found this webinar. But it's full of people that are getting into or already in the embroidery business, the direct-to-garment printer business. There are people trying to decide on equipment. There's a reminder that we've got, one of the things that we just started doing recently is our Tech Talk online webinars for our customers. So if you buy an Avance, you buy a DTG, you buy a bling machine from us, then every Wednesday and Thursday right now we're running 2-hour sessions where you get to talk to an expert about whatever questions you've got. There may be a topic for the session, but if not, you can bring your problems to us and we'll help you. Okay, that's the whole idea. So go to Custom Apparel Startups on Facebook and apply to become a member, because we would love to have you. The other thing that we do are these with the CAS Webinars. If you go to caswebinars.com, that stands for Custom Apparel Startups. That's where you'll see what's coming next. You'll see what webinars that we have coming up. We try to schedule them a month in advance. As you'll see, this is the last one that we have up for right now, but we'll get the rest of them up there shortly. We also do a podcast. Mark Vila and I do the Custom Apparel Startups podcast, where we try to impact your business. We actually interviewed both Heath and Don Copeland. Don Copeland, because he's out of the room, so I can say this now. He is the premier expert on direct-to-garment printing technology in the Americas and in most of the world. So it's hard enough to get his ego in the same room with a big screen TV.
And a marketing guy.
Can do that. And we interviewed Heath because he's got a huge amount of experience actually operating DTG, but not just that, in screen printing and embroidery and in running a business. So you can listen to both of their podcasts here. And we've also got this latest series. This is the first of 3 in Making More Money Next Month. And this is creating active word of mouth. So it's great. You can just come to the website, caspodcast.com, hit play, and we'll answer the question that we get most on the CAS Facebook site, and that is, how do I get more business? I mean, that is the constant question, and the answers are here, okay? The last thing I'm going to show you is our support site, which is awesome. You can see our training here. We have online, in-house, and self-paced training. We've got embroidery support, DTG, rhinestone and spangles, the best support site in the industry, and the best guys standing behind our equipment. Okay, that is our spiel. Now I'm going to turn back on the camera, and I apologize in advance. But I'm going to introduce Don Copeland, and you're going to be looking at him for a while. Although, Don, I got to say that I did wake up today and wear the exact wrong shirt, because there's nothing worse for video than pinstripes. See, like I kind of, I'm 3D all of a sudden. Okay, Don.
So good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking the time out. I apologize. I have some water. It is pollen season down here. For those of you who are in the cold and snow, we might trade you right now.
Yeah, we have
Oak
summer,
and pine.
pollen season. That's it.
Yeah, so my voice is a little bit rough, so I apologize for that. So I may be taking a sip from time to time. We're here tonight to basically talk a bit about a question. It's like Mark had talked about earlier, how we get the big questions on the CAS website. As a sales guy here, have been here for 12 years, the big questions I get are about the printers, because for most of our history with DTG, we have carried two printers. And it's always a question of A or B. And so we're going to try to sort that out a little bit for folks tonight on the DTG Viper2, the DTG M2, all right? And at any point, any questions come up, feel free to holler at them. It looks like somebody's already hollering. We will get Mark out of the film. Where are you located? I am standing behind the podium.
Sam, we're in Tampa, Florida.
We're in Tampa, Florida, Sam. We also have an office in
New Jersey.
The New Jersey area up in...
Just drag that right down here.
There we go. We're going to move you down here. There we go.
Okay.
In the New Jersey area of Ocean Township.
Yep.
Now, an hour and change or so from Atlantic City. We have a training facility up there, and then we also, but everything corporate is here in Tampa. This is where the machines ship from. This is where the bulk of our tech support comes from, and it's where all but one of our sales reps is located. Where were we at? Great. I'm off track already.
We were talking about
we're talking about the different printers.
Why somebody might choose.
There you go. So, first thing you have to evaluate about your business is what kind of expectations you have for production now and in the reasonable future. Other things to weigh in on when you start to look at these two machines on, if you want to put together a Ben Franklin list, left, right, what makes the most sense, where's the machine going to be located? I don't have a lot of folks that typically can get an M2 into a normal house. The M2 is almost a 4x4 square.
Right.
All right, so that may be a weigh-in. If you are doing events, you don't want to carry a 260-pound behemoth when you can carry a 140-ish pound machine to a show. If you're working out of a house, you're working out of an apartment, absolutely, the Viper2. It's a 32-inch wide machine. It's a little bit longer than that, but it's 32 inches wide, so it'll go through any standard door. So that's one of the factors you're going to weigh in on. When it comes down to also, like we were talking about the portability, the Viper2 uses a cartridge-based system, all right, which means there's no open ink in this system to worry about it spilling other than the waste tank. You empty the waste tank when you're going to travel with the machine, and you're going to be good to go. With the M2, you do have a lot of, there are 4 open bottles for the CMYK in the bag, and then 1 for the white, plus your waste bottle as well on the machine. All right, so that's a factor to weigh in on when you're looking at it. When it comes to software, identical software, the difference between the RIP softwares is literally the print beds.
Right.
It just has a different orientation and a different Platens for the machines. Print areas on the machines are virtually identical. The difference is they're rotated 90 degrees. M2, 24 inches wide and 16.5 inches deep. The Viper2, 16.5 inches wide and 24 inches deep. All right, so they're just the orientation. You get a little bit more productivity out of the M2 using the same print resolutions. Typically 15 to 20%. However, it's not something that's gargantuan. And if you're not using the machine on a continual basis, you're probably going to find that the cost differential between the Viper2 and the M2 is going to lean you back into the Viper2.
Hey, Don, today on the Facebook group, we had somebody that was going to attend. I don't seem to hear that wanted to know what the difference is with the Brother direct-to-garment printers and the DTG brand. Want to touch on that real quick?
It really depends on which one they're looking. Brother offers 3 current models of the machines. They're the 341, 361, and 381. They don't like cool names like M2 and Viper2 like we do. But theirs are pretty straightforward. 3rd generation machine, 4 heads, 6 heads, or 8 heads, and they all print 1 shirt. Yeah. So there we lead into the next.
That's 1 shirt.
The fact that they do 1 shirt, they have a fixed platen system, which means even if they do print a little quicker than we do on certain designs, you still have 1 shirt at a time coming off. You have to be there at the machine, unload the shirt, put the shirt on the press, get another shirt ready, get it onto the press printer before you start printing again. And that's because it's a fixed platen system. Now, if that's just 1 operator, that's the exact downtime you're going to have there. You literally have a period of time where you're not having a printer in motion, whereas with the M2 and the Viper, 2. The Viper2's got a 421 Platen, which we'll go to here in a minute. We have our standard, but they're removable Platens here on the M2. All right. The difference is that I can have another set of these. I've got this Platen off, as you can see. Yeah. And I have one of these off, and I think some of the other folks here said that they were involved in the apparel decoration industry anyway. If you were, you probably realize if you have an embroidery machine, we give you 2 of everything for each head. And that's the idea of one to go, one to sew. You have one on the machine decorating, and another one on the machine, off the machine, so you're prepping it. You take it off. So I can have another shirt board loaded up with 2 more shirts on. As soon as this machine stops, I can pop out that, pop it in, hit the load button, and it starts printing again. Right. Another benefit of these machines is because we print 2 shirts at a time, is it actually lowers your interface time with the machine. All right. This is comparing other brands to ours. I can load up 2 or even 4 smaller shirts on this with the standard 421 Platen and walk away from it. The machine might be printing for 10 or 12 minutes if it's a really large, dark shirt print. However, I can do other things in that period of time. And that's huge because I'm touching the machine one time with 4 shirts loaded and walking away. Whereas a competitor's machine, you would have to touch the machine basically 8 times.
Right. So you go make sales calls, do invoices, go make some money instead of just print shirts.
Or you go to the bathroom.
You could.
Yeah.
You could.
You
would.
And literally, if you're an apparel decorator that's running a small business that is diversified, it's just another stop in the loop, right? Yeah. And you go over and attend to a thread break on your embroidery machine. Now, if you had an Avante, that wouldn't happen. Never happened.
No, never.
But no, if you have something like that too as well, running other pieces of equipment. If you're a screen printer, you can start 4 shirts printing on smaller designs, 2 shirts printing on larger designs, and walk away from the machine, right? Go back over and knock out a dozen or 2 dozen shirts on your press. If you're running a manual press, come back, unload this, and go ahead and get the next set on and get it decorating, all while it's going on. If you have a machine that's stopping every 1.5 to 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever, you have to be back every 3 minutes to touch the machine.
So do we have any screen printers here, by the way? Anybody that have a screen printer?
Put your hand up if you do.
No, on the chat function. We can't see you if you're actually putting your hand up.
And it's like
Scroll down, please.
Mark, there you go.
Okay, no screen.
Oh, no, Matt. Hey, Matt. I just spoke to Matt a few ago. How you doing, sir?
That's it.
All right, great. So, and I think this will be for the rest of you all, because Matt and I actually had this conversation a little while ago.
Okay.
Some of the benefits of this to a screen printer are, like I described about that and getting away and working on it. Also, when you're taking orders, for the larger orders that aren't being digitally printed, what you want to do is print up a digital version of this design and hand it to the customer when you deliver the order, and then offer them the choice right then up front to think about when they come back for reorders. Anybody who has ever done screen printing, and Matt will probably be laughing about this, you understand that you could have saved the screens for 2.5 years, and you decided to reclaim them. Yeah. The next day, the guy calls back and wants 38 more shirts.
Yeah, because a DTG printer works like an inkjet printer.
Right.
You pull up the graphic, you can resize it however you want to, and you print it onto a T-shirt.
And it does meld well with other decoration methods. Number one, with a screen printing, what you could do is if you get orders and say it's a family reunion, and they got 3 little kids, right? And you've done like the 48, 72 shirts for the rest of the family, you can digitally print the smaller shirts. Or say you're doing something for a small team, like a team of 4-year-olds in soccer, right? And you want to do a shirt for the coach with a larger logo. So you would screen print all the smaller ones or whatnot, then take the coach's shirt and you would do it on something digital. Yep. So you're not having the same set, mess around with extra screens for that. So there's a lot of opportunities there. You can marry it. Why don't you bring that sweatshirt over here? We did. This is a kind of a cool technology. Yeah, it's kind of ugly, but we did this at Christmas time, and what this is actually material that we printed. It was actually a T-shirt I printed on. We cut it out by hand. It was a Christmas tree, and then we applicated down
with an Avante
with our Avante embroidery machine, and we sewed on Christmas ornaments, and then we applied spangle. I don't know if you can see the spangle there. Yeah, you can. If I tilt it a little bit, you see the glitter. We applied spangles to it. You could have done rhinestones. Yeah. You could have done glitter vinyl. Yeah. To give it that. So you can marry it with other technologies. I've seen people actually take a DTG print and just do highlights to give it some three-dimensionality.
Yeah.
Okay, you have some kind of jungle scene. In fact, one of the first ones I ever saw, it's actually a competitor of ours did it at a show, and they don't show it anymore, which is kind of disappointing. They actually had a jungle scene, and they embroidered a piece of bamboo into it. So it gave it the
that's
depth.
cool.
It gave it some depth to it.
I'm going to do a commercial here for ColDesi because that's my job. There are very few companies that you could go to and say, I've got an embroidery machine and I've got a DTG printer and I want to figure out how to combine the two, or talk to about mixed media technologies with bling and embroidery and DTG, and that's ColDesi.
Right. So, by the way, it's been quiet here so much so far. At any point, feel free to ask questions, guys. Just type in questions. Tammy has her hand up, and I don't know if that means now Tammy went and hid. That's all right, Tammy. If you have a question, just type it in, guys. At any point, please type your hand in, and we'll be glad to help you out and answer any questions.
Not if you're watching us on YouTube. We can't see whatever you type.
That's true. That's true. It's a good point. If you do need, with the way Mark showed you, to get onto the GoToWebinar and join us for that.
Yep.
So back to the machines.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about the differences between the machines. And this is the way I would approach it when I'm talking to somebody about whether it makes sense to get an M2 or a Viper2. Potential growth for your business, the location you're putting it in, does it need to be mobile? Are you expecting this to be something that you're going to need to see some radical multiplication in? Because when you start to look at it, for the price of 2 M2s, you can get 3 Viper2s, right? So you have to balance all of that out. And, realistically, another thing that we don't like to always talk about, but it's true, what's your budget? If your needs are an M2, but your budget's a Viper2, then maybe you start with the Viper2.
And you'll still be okay.
You'll still be okay. It's just, the differentiator to me is, what is the regular duty cycle of the machine going to be?
Okay.
If you're running the machine 35 to 50 hours a week, M2. If you're running like our average customer, 8 to 10 hours a week, maybe up to 20, 25 hours a week, good weeks, peak weeks, let's throw out on average. Viper2 is the way to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Honestly, if you want to set up in a back bedroom in a 10 by 10 space,
no doubt,
you're a lot better off with the Viper2. We even did a whole webinar on that.
But a lot of the differences and the questions you have to ask for yourself, right, is what is my long-term and my short-term applications of the machine? Because it really comes down to where that fits in. There is a price break on the inks when you buy the M2 over the Viper2, based on buying liters. If you're only buying 8-ounce bottles or 16-ounce bottles, at about 16-ounce bottles, it's a little bit cheaper on the M2 per droplet, let's say, of ink than it is on the Viper2. When you drop down to 8-ounce bottles, it's actually cheaper to buy the cartridge-based ink for the M2, a Viper2. Another thing is that there's a minimal amount of waste in the Viper2. And certainly, this is really key, guys. If you are going to have relatively extended periods of time of non-use of the machine on a regular basis, like if you're not using the machine more than a couple days a week, don't get an M2. The M2s love to be run. Get yourself a Viper2. It will sit for longer. If you heard when I opened it up, there's a sound that was going on. What it was is it depressurizes the cartridges. It's got a very highly pressurized cartridge system, has a very aggressive capping station that caps the bottom of the machine, the printhead, which allows it to sit for longer periods of time. Okay. Another upside too is that it's not sloppy carrying around your cartridges and stuff. And we just launched within the last month a cartridge recycling program. And I'm going to get in trouble here, but I think it's something like 16 cartridges.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like 16 cartridges. When you send them back in, you tell us you want to send back in recycled cartridges. You contact us, and I think we send out an envelope or something like that.
Something like that.
That is ready for you to drop them in. It's a return envelope. They come back. When they get here, you get to choose a cartridge of your choice.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
What is talk a little about the
portability of the Viper2.
Portability. Okay, I thought I said okay, it's portability. How was that?
Yeah, there you go.
The machine itself, it's certainly, you're not going to snatch it up by yourself, Sam. And if you are, we will stop picking on you. Okay, but it's not something that one person is going to pick up. Something two people could pick up and move it into an SUV or something like that. What you see here, basically sticking out of the front of the machine. The back of the machine is not quite that much. It's probably about 8 inches shorter in the back than it is in the front. You can pick the machine up to people. This width right here is actually a little under 32 inches. So for doing shows, it's great for doing that. All right, because like I said, you can move it around. It's relatively small. We have it sitting on a table that's 30 inches wide and 48 inches long. So you can get, and these are actually tables that we get from
Uline, right?
Uline, the shipping people. Okay, and we've actually put wheels on them.
Yeah.
So you could actually do that yourself if you wanted to make it easy to transport it. You sit the table inside of the vehicle, all right, and then when you get there, sit the table outside the back end of the SUV or whatnot, and sit it right onto the table and roll it out. Great for that.
And you can leave the cartridges loaded up. You don't have to take them out. You can
Anytime
bring extra cartridges, a lot safer than bringing extra bottles in it.
Yeah, good question. You can lock down the head so it can be moved. You actually just put the transit lock right back on them, right? There's a transit lock that comes actually for either machine. There is a transit lock that actually what you do is you put the head in position, you power it down so it locks down into the position, and then there's a transit lock. The same one, it'll be on the machine when it's delivered to you, and that way you keep the head from popping out. We haven't had a lot of, even in shipment here, the machines are manufactured for us in Singapore, and then they come here via ship for 4 to 5 weeks, and I don't know that we've had any uncapped when they arrived. All right, and then we've had I think a couple instances, 3 or 4, and those were our fault because we didn't quite properly cap them when they got sent out. We've done some test printing with a cleaning solution on them, and it did. But it's a great question. Portability. I mean,
and it's quiet.
Yep,
it's incredibly quiet.
When you deal with doing portable and going to shows, and this is a little side sermon here, since I am the deacon of DTG.
Yes,
it's a little side sermon on it. You want stuff to be as mobile as possible. So putting wheels on it, getting if you can see you want to show the heat press over here, Mark? Can you show that? Sure. Yep, we sell problem. These scroll down and show them the bottom of the heat press. These are stands available from George Knight, right? And these stands, they're kind of proud of them, but they have wheels on them, and they're perfect for your heat presses.
Yeah, they're great.
Everybody on YouTube is going, what are they talking about, right? Yeah. But that's something you want to consider when you go to making it as portable as possible. Because one of the things, again, another side sermon, this is about DTG, is workflow becomes very important when you try to become productive, right? And when you have your own shop set up, you absolutely can get into your own shop and get it and tweak it the way you want it to be. Yep. When you're going into an event, you don't know what they're going to stick you in. Right. You need to be flexible. You need to be able to work stuff around and put it so that you have a maximal workflow in your operation.
And it's just 110 power. No
110.
Power
there's no special requirements. If you're working out of a spare bedroom in your house, about the only concern you really have is making sure that there are at least 2 separate circuits, because you do want to isolate the heat presses from the rest of the equipment. I'm sorry if I was looking away and laughing a little bit. The marketing guy is having a drinking problem. He just spilled his drink all over the table. Anyway, back to our story. So that's what it's mainly going to take for portability, Sam. It's a good idea when you go to an event is if you're going to do some custom work, all right, have shirts ready for that, but also do some shirts that are pre-prints, and then just do refills when you go and do that. So if you have an event that you've got an event shirt that you want to get a little ahead of the curve, maybe you print up 2 or 3 dozen of them ahead of time, and then each evening at the end of it, you do a refill of your stock. Fill in, hey, we need 3 larges and 2 smalls, or whatever, to get back to that. There's going to be some comment about your drinking problem?
No, I was going to say, raise your hand if you'd like to see one of these things print something.
There's a good idea. We got a question coming up here first. While I'm reading the question, he's going to load up a couple shirts for us, right?
Dark and white.
So with proper maintenance, what is the expected life cycle of the Viper2, or at least availability of components that tend to wear out with use?
Smart question.
Good
Chad.
question, man. You sound like a marketing guy.
There's a couple of ringers here, I think.
There you go. So, Chad, what is the expected life cycle? It is dependent on the life of the print heads. This is a very current print head that Epson is using. It is the DX7. It's a one of the TFP heads. The new head is an 8-channel TFP head, so it is a very current print head. To give you a perspective, the DX5 that's in the M2 is now pushing on to probably 6 or 7 years, 8 years that they're still been using it new, and they're still using it in printers. So I would say with any direct-to-garment printer you look at, you should expect at least 5 years, and if not that, up to 7 or 8. But it's
still HM1s out there.
Yeah, and we get heads for the HM1s. The only printer that we've ever sold that we no longer can get heads for was the old the kiosk, which was based on an Epson 2200, and those we actually had print heads for the better part of about 11 years for.
Yep.
Actually 12 years. Now it's 2016.
Okay.
So I would expect, you're welcome. Yeah. Figure on a 5-year, let's put it this way. Very unlikely, especially with the Viper2 is our most current model. It's very unlikely that we're not going to be able to get parts for the machine during its practical use range, meaning when it is still a viable machine.
Yeah.
5 years from now, there's going to be machines that smoke this like a cheap cigar.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you can always buy the big concern mainly is print heads. And you can always buy a head on print heads if you start, if you have a machine that's 5 years old. It would be a bad idea to have a print head or two on the shelf. It's a longevity thing, right?
Delete some of these.
Okay, we're going to delete some of these. I hit that?
Yep.
Look at that. I'm learning how to do this. I could be a marketing guy. If only I knew how to do some housekeeping.
Yes.
All right. So right now, Heath is working on our Spider Mini. Oh, talk about the print heads on the Viper2. Did you say there is a cap on the head? I know it is on close. It's the number one. Complaint is clogging heads drying up for the white.
On other machines is the operative word. Right?
Well, and also, Carla, and I'm going to defend our industry for a bit. I know Mark's in marketing to sell our stuff, but I'm also more about talking about the industry as a whole. A lot of those nightmare stories you hear are Generation 1, Generation 2 machines. Right? I consider the Viper2 Generation 5 for us. Okay? Now, when I said about capping, the device that the print head sits over when it's not in use is called the capping station, and it caps it from the bottom. And that's what seals it up. Now, one thing that has improved greatly on direct-to-garment printers and printers in general over the last 10 years since we've been doing it, actually 12 years for us that we've been doing this, is that these stations have gotten more and more and more aggressive, so they seal the head better so they don't dry out. But heads drying up for the white isn't the case. The issue with white was traditionally white was not well maintained. Number one, the earliest stages of white were much, much, much more volatile. We have learned an immense amount about our industry.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the most major ink manufacturers in the industry kind of went bonkers at one point because their ink sales were way off. And they go, "Why do you think that is?" And I said, "Be honest with you, back in the day, 50 to 75% of the ink was never making it to shirts.
Right.
Nowadays, 95% of the ink gets to shirts. So it's not the nightmares that you read about are not as current. And when you hear them currently, they're typically people who have bought machines that are 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old, and they're trying to work with older technology, which did have its limitations.
Or they still have those machines and they're just having flashbacks.
Could be. Yeah. Could be. I'm a little late, but how long does the printed shirt last for? The one we printed earlier is gone already, Jerry.
We sold it.
We sold it. If you do really good designs,
last about 20 minutes on the show.
So no, it's a good question, Jerry. And I'm gonna assume what you're asking is how long does it stay on the shirt? How viable, how durable are the prints? Direct-to-garment printing is a water-based process. Those of you who are screen printers understand, the difference between plastisols and water-based inks. All right. The difference is when you use a plastisol, you're actually putting a plastic coating on a garment and you're melting it to the shirt. You're chemically bonding it to the shirt. It is going to last longer than the shirt. Water-based is not going to do that. Water-based is addressing the fiber level. So the answer is when properly cured on a high-quality shirt, it's going to last as long as the shirt does. At the rate that the shirt ages, the rate your print is going to deteriorate. I have shirts that I printed in our first years in this industry, 10, 11 years ago, that have literally got hundreds of washings on them, and I still consider them acceptable. They're still in the range of 75%. Heath used to work for us until right about now. So then he sound like him being choked out. That would be my assistant. But no, shirts that I had printed for events that I've gone to that literally have hundreds of washes on them, and they were standard grade shirts, and they've maybe deteriorated 25%. Printing on zippers or seams. Okay, another great question, Carla. Anytime you print with an inkjet printer, the head goes straight across. It moves in a linear, in a line, in a plane, so to speak. So you have to set the height of your print head off of the high point of the garment. So when you're printing over a zipper, you're printing over a seam, if you don't adjust for that with your platen from beneath, you're going to have to set your artwork to print best on the seam, and it's going to be somewhat distorted below because of the cone of ink gets wider. So we do offer a zipper to hoodie platen that I want to zoom up to here. If you look over here, you see this black platen back here? This black platen right here actually has a recess right in here for your platen, for your zipper to go into, and it actually has an adhesive back behind it. And what that does is it allows you to get the zipper down to the same level as the actual shirt itself. All right. So the rest of the shirt, that will help you to print over zipper. The zipper. You're not actually physically printing on the zipper. You're printing on the material on the zipper. Now, I will tell you something. Again, another side sermon. Don't do it if you have plastic zippers.
Right.
Because when you heat press them, they will no longer become zippers. They just become plastic. And trust me, we know this because
now it's a pullover.
We have had people. It's a pullover. We've had people do this, but you can't account for it like that. Over in Europe, direct-to-garment is really huge in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
All right, and so they do a lot of prints over zippers, over things like, and over over seams on women's tanks and stuff like that. And they're doing distressed artwork anyway. So it really depends on what your artwork is like. Okay, even when people screen print on hoodies with zippers on them, it looks funky at the zipper. So when you use this system, it actually looks better than a screen print because we are spraying the ink, so we are kind of catching some of the seams you wouldn't get with because if I've got my zipper going north-south and my squeegee's coming north-south, I'm not really flooding that little trench on the sides as well, right? With this, I'm spraying down into it, and it actually does a good job. Other questions?
Still need to print some shirts.
We do.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go in and get rid of these. All right, so we're going to be changing back to the computer screen. So when I do that, it's a likely chance that you may lose us. Not really a likely chance, but if you have a problem, we go away, simply exit out and come back in, right, Mark?
Yep, there's a little snowflake down on the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
You can click on, and that will help.
All right, sweet. All right, so I'm going to turn on the computer screen now, turn off this, and we're going to go over here to the RIP software, the C6. All right, what we have here is a Q-based. This RIP software, by the way, yours won't look like this. We have everything in ours, right? Yours is going to look like basically black shirts, color shirts, white ink only, and then some, you may have a couple. These are some experimental cues, but you're going to have these 4 main cues. What they stand for, very simply, this is for printing black shirts. Why is there a separate one for black shirts and color shirts? Because we put white ink down on both of those, right? We do not use as much black ink, even though sometimes we will print some black ink on a black shirt. All right. However, on a color shirts mode, we are going to print all of the black ink because there's no black there. The black shirt mode uses the shirt for most of the black. Okay. White shirts, just get on it. It's for doing white shirts. All right. Sorry for the folks on YouTube. You're just going to have to listen to me and believe me. White ink only is a mode that allows you to do one pass, white ink only prints. For instance, if you had, I think, flashback to the old got milk shirts, right? You wanted to put words got milk or something like that, or staff on a shirt or something like that. Or you have a piece of artwork that you just want to print like a reverse monochrome, right? You could do that here. You would bring in your artwork and you tell it whether you're bringing it in a solid white artwork and to print it that way, or if you bring it into a solid black artwork or a black gray scale artwork and you tell it to do a reverse, and it'll print white ink only, and then it'll eject it just like it would a white shirt printing the color layers on. All right, inside of each one of these, call them super cues, are your sub cues, and they're going to be different print modes for each of for the printer. Here, we have a graphics best, we have a black best. You have these different modes as you go along, and it allows you to drop in. You can actually build your own cues underneath of here. Yours, if you buy an M2, is only going to have M series. If you buy a Viper2, it's only going to have Viper2 cues, all right? We run an Uber package to drive everything. But you're going to bring in your graphic to here. So we have right over here, as you guys are seeing some of this, but this is actually my two palettes represented here. I want to move the questions out of the way so I can see what we got up. We got the 2-up. We're going to do 2-up same. Oh, you got one shirt in. Okay, sorry. We only have one shirt in here. But you see all these options we have here. We have different Platens you can get for the M series. And we have a 2-up. We have 2-up same. What a 2-up same would do is would populate both of these with the exact same artwork. If we have a dual toddler Platen, which would be 2 smaller Platens on each one of these. I have a mode in there where it would do 4-up. All right, so all 4 would be populated at the same time. So do we have a piece of artwork that was a good one that you want me to bring in, Heath?
Let's go to the service drive. And then we'll click on, where is Darla's folder? Is it on the desktop? Right there.
It's important to know exactly where you're at. Darla's cues. Black tees. Yep. This is a sample show.
All right.
Nope, wrong place.
Yep.
Oh, those are the cues. It's probably
Darla, yeah.
There we go. All right. So as you'll see here, these are Photoshop files. If somebody asks for us up front, what's your preferred method? Photoshop file, transparent background. All right.
Wait,
Face Rainbow is a good one. Yeah. All right. This is a standard Photoshop file. I'm just going to double click on it. It's going to bring it in. You can also drag and drop it. There's a ton of different ways to bring in the artwork. But it's just a straight PSD, transparent background. You can also, when you're printing on black shirts, you can use a black background as well. And there's a thing it's called Knock Me Out Black. All right. But what this is going to do, and this is showing you the way it's going to look when it's represented when it's printed. All right. And so first thing I like to do is I go in here and I want to tell it to rip only. This allows me to process it, get an idea that the artwork is solid. It also, assuming Heath, in reloading all this stuff up, has put the ink prices back into here, should tell me how much this print's going to cost to print.
The only ones that don't have the ink prices are the newer printers.
Should files be set up for CMYK, not RGB? Joanne, this is the thing that confuses the snot out of all of us. No, they should be set up for RGB because you get a wider color gamut out of them. I know it doesn't make sense because we're printing with CMYK.
The best way to explain why is most of all your monitors, TVs, and everything out on the market is done with RGB color profiling.
Yep.
So what you see on your screen, you view it in an RGB. So rendering an RGB file to your printer will help it better color match.
There you go. What he said. Anyway, so what I said over, not only that, is because you have a wider gamut. And it's a rule. Sometimes things in life don't make the perfect sense. That's what we've learned, right?
Yep.
All right. $1.36 is what this is going to cost to print. I believe I actually go in here and even show you the breakout, won't it? Yep. So this is our breakout based on these pricing. Okay. That's right. I'll go under the job itself. But this shows you what we break out. And actually, this is a little high because Heath has this set at retail pricing.
Right.
When you are a customer of ColDesi, we set you up with our gold platinum pricing. And your prices are going to be about 30% below this. So I was kind of surprised. My expectation on that shirt would be about $1. That's what it would typically cost to print for gold platinum as a customer. You're welcome, Joanne. All right, so we've ripped this job. We have the printer that I'm pointing at. You guys can't see. Now I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and release this job. All right. So it's now pending. And we not recent. I hit print, didn't I? There you go.
No, there's a lot of empty spaces on that screen. How many jobs could you have queued up? Could you set everything up for the day, or
you could certainly set up for the day. You could actually run it. If you had an operator that you really didn't want messing with anything, you could actually go through and process the actual job like I did there when I did rip only, and have them ready so all they had to do is right mouse click and hit print. If you really wanted to make sure, you could actually print out the shirts, right? Real quick, one of each, and then have them down here in the post rip, and there was no likelihood of them screwing up because that you would just be redumping the data. You'll see when this job completes, it's going to pop down here to this area.
Yeah, pretty screen printers, all you're doing with that customer job is saving it.
Right.
And you can bring it back up anytime.
All right, so while we're doing that, we're going to hop in over here. Are any questions going? Oh, I did see a question just pop up. Cool. All right, so can you put a custom size printing areas, or are you limited to Platen preset size? No, absolutely, Chad. You can create your own Platens. We have people who do it. I have some folks who do they do print on wood and things, and they've actually set up their own targets, so to speak, to lay their wood in. All right, and they know exactly what that is. You can also lay. Mark, there's no camera on right now. Mark's showing us on the people on YouTube now see what we're talking about.
Yes. Right? Finally, they get a break.
There you go. He's asking about canvas and what we hadn't got to do. It'd be the same thing. Understand the RIP doesn't care what printer we're printing to. So you can generate. Now, there are going to be presets that are in here that are matched to the Platens, but absolutely if you're trying to nail something, you can do it. I've had folks actually go in and set up literally on their Platens exactly where they're going to mount a shirt for a chest print. And that becomes their print area at this point.
I actually did a webinar for one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's some of these webinars we talked about earlier that the web does, woo, that we do on the web with Heath, like the candy bar Heath.
How's that medication?
He'll show you how to do some of this cool custom stuff. Be as smart as you want to with this stuff to make life easier. And it's funny you asked, Chad. We actually had the customers of ours who had an M2 had one of our earlier machines from us, and they had whooped this thing. And they were in Nashville. We were going to a show, and they were going to be sending their machine back to Santa's workshop for us to rebuild it for them. Right. And they were buying our M2 off the show floor. And they came in and paid for it like on the first day. And so we had the big happy smiley face sold sign on it. And they came into us like on the last day and say, we've got this order of like 40 wedding invitations on wood we have to print out.
Oh, yeah.
And so he did it in like 2 runs. We laid all these things out, and it was just a matter. What you do is you set up a grid and you print it to like a piece of paper on it, and you have an idea of where to target it, and then you can set it up in there. And the cool thing is, if you got to do 10 items at once, you can set it up to populate all 10 with the same graphic at the same time.
Just picture Don doing some very descriptive hand movements.
That's right.
To get his point across.
All right. So now with the other thing we want to kind of show off here is a cool new print mode. So this may blow up on us, guys, but we're going to try it. This is a new print mode for the Viper2. All right. And we'll use that as a graphics, you think, for the face, Heath?
Yeah.
All right. This is a new print mode that we've actually just gotten. And this actually, you're welcome, Chad. This actually helps us to kind of level the table between the M2 and the Viper2 print speed, but also blows us by a lot of comparably priced DTGs on the market with the mode. And what it is when we print at a higher resolution than this, we get plenty of white ink. However, at the lower resolution than this, we don't quite get enough to get all that pop.
Right.
So we actually ink back at 1440, which is the next higher step up. At this, it allows us to print full ink at 1080, which is a resolution of 1080.
So what does that mean? Faster prints?
Faster print. The lower the resolution that we print at. And our testing so far is proving 25 to 35% speed increase over the standard print mode. Wow. So, in here, once again, move this, make sure I go to my template here. Go up to just 2 up. Yep. And we're just going to bring in, I'm going to bring in the same graphic just for fun. That'll work. Oh, sorry. Yep. All right, I'm going to rotate this around.
Let's make this small so we get a good recording of the whole screen.
All right. How do I do that right there?
Nope, this one.
All right. There we go. Awesome.
And if you just click on max speed. screen right here.
We're gonna max that out.
We gotta cut the on.
There we go.
Now do it.
There you go. We've maxed that out for the design. So we have basically the same size design. Again, I'm not going to go through and pre-rip this one because he is a slacker and didn't put my ink cost in here for this. But suffice to say, it should be maybe a dime more than it would be on the M2.
Right.
All right. So we said about $1 when you're buying at gold pricing. All right. So we're just going to go ahead with this and tell it to print.
And by the way, if you're printing on white shirts, everything is fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
All right. And it's none of that fast. So while we're on the rip, before I come back, okay, to my beautiful face on TV, any questions about the rip that I can point out for you while we're within the rip? All right. We're going to go ahead and bring this back up here to a pretty full, and I'm going to bring this out so we can see it.
You can also see the M2 finishing up in the background.
Right. M2 is finishing up over here. It's really hard because I know which side they're on, and I look at myself on the screen. It's like,
yeah,
M2, Viper2. Doesn't feel right, but it's the truth. All right. I mean, literally, and you'll see when we get done here, we'll hold the shirts up, and you'll see that the print quality on them is virtually the same.
Yeah.
All right. That's a huge thing. Is you're not giving up print quality by going either way, Viper2, M2. Okay.
Or size.
Or a print area. I mean, it just
Number
north, south, east, west.
At the same time.
Right. It's really more about, do you need portability? Are you going to be running like a beast? You're running like a beast. You do want the Viper2, M2. I mean, Viper2 is over here. The M2. If you need portability, you're in a small operation. If you've got a smaller budget, we got to be real, right? $7,000 is $7,000. That'll allow Heath to get the extra 2 teeth he needs done. I'm just saying, it's a lot, right? But I mean, those are really kind of the weigh-in. Honestly, listen to your account manager. Okay, ask questions. People don't understand me sometimes. We get into arguments when I try to talk them off of the expense cliff, right?
Right.
They feel like they've got to buy bigger, better, faster, and then because you never know when your business is going to change. Also, you may get an M2, and next thing you know, some opportunity comes for you to go on the circuit to go do some types of events.
Yeah.
Right. However, if you can buy the Viper2 and you need to try it up to the M2, we give you 80% for a full year. So you lose a little bit, but it's not enough that it's not like you have a printer you have to downsell and come back to another machine. Okay. Well, you guys haven't got a lot of questions tonight.
Here we go. Moving fast here. That's great.
Yeah, it's moving through pretty quick.
Yeah.
There we go. Matt, is there anything special you have to do to print on polyester? Prayer helps. When you print on polyester, we do have a pre-treatment for light colors. Anybody who's been, and you probably know this is a screen printer, the dyes used in polyesters are reactive, all right? And what does that mean? When they're heated up, they gas out. Well, when they gas out, they penetrate the inks that are on the surface of the garments. We have some customers doing 50-50s. We have customers who are doing tri-blends and things like that with pretty decent success. You're not going to get the pop and white you see behind me right here on the rainbow face. Just not going to happen. Because it would look that good when you printed it. And as soon as he threw it into the heat press, what would happen is that the gases, the dyes in the black shirt are going to gas out, and all of the white is going to taint towards gray. All my colors are going to dull a little bit. My white is going to dull to a gray. So trust me, it is kind of the holy grail of the direct-to-garment marketplace right now. We're about $4 million in 4 years invested into working on solutions to do that. The upside is that when a solution comes to print on polys, it's going to be ink and pre-treatment. It's not going to be a change in the machine. But one thing that's not going to change, and I don't, with my 27 years in the industry, don't see this ever changing, right, is unless some radical thing comes up. It's going to defeat the purpose of the poly, right? Mark's got his pink shirt on. Oh, he took it off here. Stay over there for now. I mean, this is a 100% polyester that's been done without white ink. These are a pair of those basketball shorts like you wore back in high school. Again, printed. Oh, this is the side where they're printed. That's the wrong side. Printed with the ColDesi logo. All right. And this is is that 100% also? Or is that 50-50? No, it's 100% poly.
Okay.
All right.
These are all done with the M2.
Right. These are done with the M2, but you can do the same thing with the genuine DTG inks. All right. That's a 100% poly shirt. This is a 100% poly. So you can get away with stuff like that. But printing white ink on polys, it's really do it and see if your customers are happy with it.
Yeah.
It's going to wash all right. And that was always our fear before, it wouldn't wash all right. It's just not going to look as good out of the gates. All right. And if your customer's happy with the results you can give them, I wouldn't get black shirts and plan on putting white on it. I actually was reading on, I don't remember if it was on our forum or one of the other forums on the Facebook, about a customer who actually had bought some, I think it was red polyester, wicking type of shirts, and they had put white heat applied vinyl onto them, and the gassing out of the dyes was so radical on that shirt that it was penetrating the vinyl, and they actually had to cut 2 layers of vinyl and lay it down.
Wow.
At a blocker layer and a secondary layer. So as you see, they had to even defeat the shirt there. The underbase blocker layer completely blocked any gassing out from the shirt itself and put it up. And so here we have
a look at at what the M2 can do. I mean, that's pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah? We'll take that. Let's look at what a Viper2 can do.
yeah, okay. So
It's hard to see.
yeah, it's hard to see the difference.
Yes, it's very hard to see the difference. They actually in person look pretty close to the same.
Yeah. And that's using the new print mode on the Viper2.
Brand new print mode, which we haven't even reprofiled yet as well. How about 50-50? Carla, you can. Same thing. You're not going to get as much of intrusion. And I'm saying, guys, this is not anything to do with the DTG Viper2 or M2. This is a reality of the industry. There's some people who are out there now touting the fact that they can print on polys. There's witchcraft involved. And what I mean is, it's not something that's going to be profitable. It's only going to work on very limited shirts, and you're going to have marginal washability. The dyes in the garments, all right? You'll notice anybody who's showing these things is showing them on one color of shirt only. If you really want to test somebody if they can print on dark polys, buy red polyester shirts and send them to them. Because the fact that I just said red polyester shirts, somewhere something turned pink.
And 2 different brands, because every single brand and every single run of polyester is different.
So, I mean, the good news is we're getting closer. The bad news is that some radical science has to change, because all of these dyes that are in these garments gas out at about 240 degrees.
No,
everybody's ink on the market cures at 340 or higher.
The better news is that people make tons of money on cotton.
But I have customers who are printing on 50-50. You just have to set realistic expectation. You're not going to get the vibrant whites that you get on these.
And we're very picky, too.
Yeah, well, except in our marketing department. We just hire anybody that walks in. That was actually, I laughed myself on that.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Where was I at?
I don't know. You're the
we were talking about the upside to a 50-50 cotton shirt, Carla, is that the shirt itself does not break down as readily as a 100% cotton shirt. So you can pretty much count on after that first wash on a 50-50, you're going to flatline. That's pretty much where it's going to stay for the rest of its life until that shirt is just destroyed by other things scratching against it. Okay?
We are running up against 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so we are.
If you, what are the questions you folks have for us?
Yeah, we only put an hour's worth of coins in the meter. Other questions from anybody?
How many of you would like us to ship one of these to you tomorrow morning?
With the qualifier.
So many hands.
Okay. Oh, wow. All of a sudden they start coming out. So, Sam, how long would it take to print a full size, full color on a black shirt? Can you answer me, Sam? What size are you considering full size? And Chad says, I'd like to make the drive to the business store and talk further. Yeah, it's a good idea during business hours, especially. Let us know when you'd like to come in. One of the things is we're not foolish. We don't have 10 machines sitting around here at a time. We try to sell them as fast as we can. So, like, for instance, we do trainings on the machines, and we also have the webinars that Heath does, and we also have other demos. Just give us a call if you're working with an account manager. Get with your account manager and work together a mutual beneficial time. I think that pretty much, what day is it? Wednesdays is the day that Heath does is Tech Talk. So those are tough days for us. Thursdays are tough for embroidery. And traditionally, when we do have in-house DTG training, it's on a Friday, but we rotate machines. So it's not one, like the first Friday of the month might be M2, the third Friday might be Viper2. A 24 by 16, okay? A couple things to weigh in here. Number one, how long would it take on a dark shirt? Let me cross a couple of these out there. How long it would take on a dark shirt, Sam? If you printed it on the Viper2 with this new print mode, you're probably looking at about 7 or 8 minutes, okay? But here's the other thing. It's going to take you forever to cure it because 24 by 16 is bigger than the average, than the heat press you're going to have. Either that or you're buying a $300 heat press or a $2,800 heat press to do a 20 by 25, but it would be doable. Chad says, I'm a newbie. I'm talking about account manager here at ColDesi. If you have inquired, if you sign up for this webinar, you will have an account manager by the time it's all tomorrow because we have your information. All right. Matt, thanks, Matt. Matt was, I talked to him earlier. He's just telling us he was leaving. Appreciate that. So Sam, it's really realistic. If you weigh in what it would take you to do this with screen printing, let me ask you, do you screen print, Sam? Silence.
Maybe not.
All right. So I mean, you can certainly get one off. No, you outsource that. Okay. So outsource that. I think with an exclamation point is what it is. It's not lightning fast, but just like no digital process is lightning fast. It's a linear process. The nice thing about this versus screen printing is that you figure out what it takes you to do one time wise and cost wise. And that's how much it costs. Yeah, that's not bad. Now, Sam, in the old mode, it would have been about 11 minutes. Right. We're seeing about a 30% increase, but the print quality that we're seeing so far is just awesome.
But either way, I mean, you're going to make real money on a digitally printed shirt,
right?
So if you can turn over 4, 5, 6 an hour, that's money.
Sam has a brother. Which brother do you have? The 61, 361, or 381, Sam?
And you don't have to invest in as much in waste ink.
Well, not just 361. Okay, that's part of it. So you're running one with 2 heads of white. The 381 is faster than that. But the other side to it is that image that I just printed there. I mean, I'm going to just throw a real number out to you. That would cost you every bit of $2.15 to print. On the brother, their ink is literally double what ours is. Or their color is certainly double what ours is. And their white is about 60% more. So when you do the math when it's done, it costs almost double to print a shirt. That's a big difference there. It's another thing to weigh in on when you're looking at it. And Sam says, I know, that's why I'm here. Okay, and they do it. I mean, they're a good machine, a good company. But understand, guys, Brother and Epson are their own ink companies. Right. They don't sell ink delivery devices. Right? The 2 most expensive printers on the entire market to print with are the Brother printers and the Epson specific direct-to-garment printer. Right. Why? Because they got you. Yeah. They got you hooked. All right? So, looks like we've about tapped out on questions, guys. So. Oh, wow. All of a sudden, Chad's back. Let's see. Here it's back.
You're welcome, Chad. Joanne, it depends if we got a good recording. Then I'll put it up on YouTube, and I will also post it on the Facebook group.
So, okay, Carla had a good question here. How about this? Is any white ink safe for toddler/infants? Is it environmentally friendly? Answer 1, environmentally friendly, absolutely yes. Would I recommend putting white ink of anybody's onto toddlers or infants' garments? No. It has titanium dioxide in it, which causes cancer in California rats. Yes. No, it's a mineral. So my advice to people would be not to use white ink from anybody's printer. Okay.
But you can print on white onesies all day long.
Or pink. Well, let's face it, most onesies are not black, blue, green, or purple. Most onesies are white or pastel colors, so you could. But I mean, just personally, I would not recommend it. There hasn't been extensive testing. I don't think anybody's ever going to go down.
There's no science on that. You know, it's like nobody's.
I wouldn't put a screen printed onesie on a kid that has white ink in it. Titanium dioxide is what everybody uses for white, and it's different than all of the other pigments that are used. It's a metal as opposed to it being just an organic. We went way over here. Chad, you're welcome. Any other questions, contact us. If you don't have an account manager, shoot me an email at dcopeland, that's DCOPELAND at ColDesi.com, and I'll take care of you, or I'll hook you up with an account manager. And Joanne was asking about we're hoping it'll be available on YouTube. It looks like it's recorded, and we're having about a 95% success rate anymore.
Yeah, lately it's been pretty good.
So when I don't trip over the cord and the camera comes out in the middle of the event, and then we plug it back in, and it's fine. You can see us, but we lost the recording.
Yeah.
So thank you guys again for carving out the time.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. You're welcome, Sam. Don't hesitate to contact Mark or myself through if you go up on the Facebook page, the CAS website, Facebook page.
Yeah.
You know, I'm up there quite a bit. Mark needs to get a life. Mark's up there
all the time.
Let's put it so he's holding us insomnia
constantly.
But post up there, we'll be able to get to you and guide you guys in the right direction. And hey, we look forward to seeing you again. Check out Webb on our Tech Talks. Great stuff, guys. Nobody in the industry has anything like that. You have access to a technician that you can ask real questions to, and also hear the other questions. Just like you guys here tonight got to hear these questions that other people asked, and it's such a huge education thing. It's a thing we've committed to long term for our customers and helping them grow. And the reality check is it's the right thing to do. Number one, it's a business, but number two, we don't want to answer all your dadgum questions more than once, right? So we get it done right. We get you guys successful, and you get on to making money. When you get on to making money, you're calling us and buying more machines, and that's what makes economies work.
That's right, especially ours. Okay, good night, everybody. Thanks very much.
Bye, guys. Bye.